Hello everybody, welcome back to the Restrict Review podcast. As ever, I am Deborah.
And I am Deborah.
Welcome. I'm Chris, this is Deborah. And we're back once again, catching up on our endless reviews. We're coming, I think we mentioned actually, we've seen this last week. We're going to be reviewing Grease today.
Yeah. The famous Grease. It's based on it's actually a musical first, right?
It was originally a musical, then a film, and then it was redone as a musical. It was kind of based on the film that was based on the musical.
Its most famous iteration is the film with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
yeah.
So why are we reviewing this week, you may ask? We've said we've lots of other things to review. Well, it is, of course, because of our schedule.
Yep. Busy.
This is the one that we were prepared for, so it's the one we're doing. It's running in the Dominion Theatre in London.
Yeah.
Until October?
Until October at the moment, yes.
Yeah, so it said it opened in May, and it said for a limited run of 26 weeks, which is half a year, so it's quite a long time.
It is a long run, yeah. And they're going to catch all of summer as well, so it's probably one of the best times for this type of show, because it's a show that appeals to a lot of people, because there are so many film fans who will want to go. Just families, it's really a show that anyone can go to.
Yeah, and as tourism starts to pick up again, well, I say starts to pick up again, it has picked up again. As tourism continues to pick up post-COVID, it's going to be a good one to kind of draw people into, tourists into, right, in particular.
Definitely, yeah. So if you're curious about it, you can now listen to what we have to say about the show.
I don't know how well it's been selling subsequently, but we went on its opening weekend.
Yeah.
And the theatre was half empty on a Friday night.
Yeah, so that wasn't a great sign. However, I have seen rush tickets are not there anymore until the end of the day, as they were in that preview week that we went to.
Oh yes, because we did indeed go with Today Ticks rush tickets, so we paid £25 each for
the dress circle. The seats were incredible. It must be said.
Yeah, it's a good theatre for that, because Dominion is just basically a large, very modern theatre which has a stall section and a dress circle section.
Yeah.
And we've sat right at the back of the dress circle for Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
You can see perfectly well. This time we were pretty front and centre of the dress circle. I think the only place I'd probably avoid would be the very kind of the back corner of the stalls.
Yeah. It's just the only problem. I think the main problem would be distance rather than line of sight.
Yes, I think that's correct.
So yeah, but it is a great theatre, and I think apart from We Will Rock You, that stayed there for a long time in my memory, nothing seems to stay there for very long.
No,
it's always
Bat Out of Hell was there for a couple of years.
Was it? But then it moved.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So things seem to.
It went on tour. It didn't move to the theatre. It went on tour.
But it also it did move in London as well. It didn't. Yeah, it did move. Yeah. So yeah, the Dominion. It's a great theatre. And we all still mourn the loss of Freddie Mercury's statue in front of it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's such a great thing for the UK to be proud of. I know he wasn't from the UK originally, but they're a UK band.
Yeah,
that seems like a much better thing to have on the top of your one of your biggest theatres.
Yeah,
rather than Meatloaf's Flaming Motorcycle or I don't know what's there now.
It's the Grease. Yeah,
what's the paraphernalia?
I don't think there's anything too intense. It's usually not all shows do such a big make such a big deal out of it.
I was been looking it up. It didn't move from the Dominion somewhere else.
Did it not?
It was briefly in the Coliseum before the Dominion.
Oh, okay.
So you're wrong, but you're right.
Okay.
Well, you're right, but you're wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Grease, right? This is go on.
No, I was just gonna preface this by saying, if you're a fan of the film, I don't even know how useful the review is for you. If you're a big fan of the film, because you enjoy it, I think.
If you're a fan of the film, I would say this to you: you're either the type of person who will be really upset and annoyed at every minute change.
Yeah.
In which case, don't go see it because the actors are different. So they're gonna sing it differently. Or you're a type of person who just loves the source material and you're gonna love it even if the cast are absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any real middle ground for that type of person. You either will love it no matter what, or you will hate it no matter what.
On the day we went, I think most people did love it no matter what.
Yeah, I think so.
There were and also if you're planning to see it and you're a big fan of the show, can I just ask you a big favor? Maybe don't sing along.
Yeah.
Because we had that in our performance.
Yeah.
And sorry,
for some of the weirdest songs as well.
Yeah. So this is just a kind of couple of disclaimers.
PSA.
So
Turn
yeah.
your phone off as well.
Turn your phone off. Yeah, I mean, there were lots of people taking photos and filming it, and
so
just
many people filming. In the second half, most of my second half was spent watching ushers asking people to stop filming.
Yeah, I mean, look, it ruins the experience for everybody. And we pay £25. I'll say only £25, but a lot of people have paid more.
Yeah.
And you're just ruining that experience for them. And if you are someone who paid more, or even indeed £25, don't ruin your own experience.
Yeah.
Just watch the show.
Stop singing along, stop filming. If you do that, you're a terrible person. Stop listening to my podcast.
No, you can still listen.
Yeah, people who do that in the theater, like, just the worst.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Here,
and it's so disrespectful to the actors as well. To everyone who's putting that show for you. You there with a big light on your face while everything else is dark. So, you know they can see you, right?
You can tell I'm grouchy that I haven't been up very long today. Because I wouldn't usually say that. But I said what I meant, and I meant what I said.
Okay, let's get on with the review. So Grease, the show is written, book, music, and lyrics is by Jim Jacobs and Warren Casey, and this production was directed by Nikolai Foster. There is, I guess, a lot to discuss. It is a very big stage and a very big, a very impressive stage.
The main stage is enormous, and they did use it. In fairness, like they filled it up with set dressing. Now a lot of it is kind of very much just set dressing, right? They got like gym ropes and gym, I don't know what you call them, like climbing frames and monkey bars, although they possibly have a more adult word when it's not a playground. But they had a lot of set dress, an enormous Rydell High logo, across the front and center stage. They had kind of like a big kind of bubble dome thing for the DJ to stand in the back.
That was quite clever, I thought.
Yeah,
that was good because you could see him at all times. So I mean, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about these things as we go.
I feel like we always start with an overview. I think most people obviously know the show, but basically it's a I guess a rom-com, actually, isn't it? Of two boy meets girl, boys in a bit of a
difficult person.
Boys they meet on holiday. Then she transfers schools. Turns out now going to the same school for their final year.
But they're very different, right? He is like the cool guy, and she's just like.
She's
studious.
Yeah, she's nice.
Yeah.
It turns they don't fit together as well in the social throngs of high school as they did on their private summer.
Yes. Very well put.
Thank you. And basically, he's a bit of a prat, and then she changes for him, and then it's all good.
Yeah,
right?
So I must admit that I went into it thinking, oh, they will have made some changes. It is 2022. And this show is 50 years old now. It says 50 years since the film, I think. 50 years since the film.
It's set in the 50s. It's actually set. It was made in the 70s, set in the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. And I was expecting a few changes. And in fairness, I think there's a few things that they do. Like they have a more diverse casting. And I guess it stops there. That's what they do. They have a diverse casting, but they don't really change the message of the show, which seems to be a recurring theme.
I mean, I don't know if the show really is meant to have a message, but it does obviously inadvertently have a message. I think that's the...
well, everything kind of does, right?
I don't think the writers thought about it, you know?
No, sure. I'm not expecting a moral message. I'm not expecting a cautionary tale or anything like that. I think it's just very odd to choose to tell the story and keep it exactly as it was. I think it's a not choice. What does it add?
Yeah.
You know?
So.
And I do enjoy the film. I think it's fun and it has some great songs. Like, everyone enjoys, Summer Nights and all that. Like, there's so many great songs. But, it's very hard to look past.
The best of which, my favourites of which weren't written for the musical.
Were they written for the film?
So Grease is the Word was written for the film. And then Magic Changes is probably my favourite song from the show, which is by, I can't remember who that's by. I'll look it up. But it was just by some band.
Yeah.
Because it was stuck into it was Shanana. That's it. It was by Shanana. Because it was just stuck into the film. In the film, it's in the background. I think I could be wrong, but I think it's during the dance.
Okay.
But the band actually maybe Shanana possibly play the band at the high school dance. and therefore we're just singing one of their songs. And that was that was later incorporated into subsequent productions.
Okay.
And Doody sings it. At different parts in the show, depending on the production.
Yeah.
And it's a completely ridiculous, random song that has no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
But it's just a nice song, isn't it?
Song.
Yeah.
So that's essentially an overview. It's Boy Meets Girl.
Yeah, I think it's very. I'll be very surprised if anyone listening doesn't really know the plot of Grace.
So the cast is Dan Partridge as Danny Zuko. Dan Partridge, we haven't encountered him before. He did apparently play. He was apparently in the Bochum production Star Express at one point in his life.
Oh wow! Yeah.
He played Electra in that. I doubt he's who I saw in it a few years ago, but maybe he was. Never know. He's also played Rum Tum Tugger in a European and South Korean production of Cats. And he's played Link Lark in Hairspray. So he's got quite a relatively prolific and diverse background. Which I don't really think I would if I'd read his what's the word his rap sheet before we'd seen him, I would have expected more from him.
Okay.
I wasn't particularly impressed. I found there was a lot of phoning it in from the performances in this show because it is Grease, and there's kind of an element of just showing up and going through the motions. Sure,
it's very. I think that. It's always a little difficult to kind of make the character your own when there's a version of the character that is so worldwide famous.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and that's definitely a trap, and a pothole, and that's definitely an issue for all of them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that I just wasn't blown away. Like no one's performance really stood out to me.
Okay, so
like if I was a talent scout, you just kind of that whole show would wash over, and you'd be like, all right, let's just forget all that. You know
that's harsh. So who else do we have? We also have Olivia Moore as Sandy Dubravsky. We actually, I believe she was.
She took over from Carrie Hope Fletcher as
Veronica
in Heathers. Yeah.
As Veronica, and I think she was also in Waitress, if I'm not mistaken.
Who did you play in Waitress? You know?
I think she played one of them, and potentially also understudy for
one of the waitresses, you mean?
Yeah, one of the waitresses.
One of them.
Well, yeah,
what's
sorry.
Her name? I can't remember her name. The one who sings. I think it's the one who sings. The one who gets with what's his name? Oh my god, I can't remember.
Dr. Pomater.
No. Dr. Pomater's the main.
Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn. That's it. The one who gets with
yes.
Ogie.
Yes.
I think it might have been her. But I don't think we saw her.
No, but I think she played the lead as well. I think she was on the study for the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, we never saw her as the lead.
No. We haven't seen her.
There's many people in that role, but not.
I thought she was very good.
She was probably the best vocalist on the stage, but I think Grease just doesn't give you much to do. Like it's just like I said, it's just everyone knows the songs. No one's really listening to your performance. They're just. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I think there is as we said at the start, there's obviously people singing along. People are unfortunately not. I don't think a lot of people are going to it to listen. They're going to it to be nostalgic of this
exactly. And
this music they like.
That's a huge hole this production of Grease and probably all productions of Grease can't really get out of. And I mean you can probably even hear it from my tone. It's not an interesting thing to even discuss really.
No.
Because it is very much at the end of the day it's a very archaic show.
It is, yeah.
But in terms of musical style, in terms of plot, in terms of attitudes. And you're either going in willing to enjoy that archaic style, or you're not.
Yes, that is probably true. We also have Jocasta Amgel as Rizzo, Paul French as Kanicki, and famously also Peter Andre as Vince Fontaine.
You're moving too quickly. I have things to say about all of them.
So
Jocasta Amgel needs to work on her diction. I literally couldn't understand a word she said. It was genuinely probably the worst diction I've heard. Well, I say that was the worst diction I've heard. It was amongst the worst diction I've heard this year. And Kanicki, Paul French's Kanicki, I was so this he is the epitome of some of the archaic problems with the way that men talk in this.
Not the actor, the character.
No, not the character. but I found his portrayal to be really quite nasty.
Well, there's a lot of that in Grease.
I mean,
and it's hard to get past it nowadays. I think.
Yeah.
You kind of accept it in the film because it's so old. So when you watch it, you have this detachment. You know it's something from the past. I think watching watching 2022 like people in their 20s doing these things is kind of it's kind of hard, I think. Just like, I don't know, it's just a bit weird. And also, obviously, we have then Peter Andre, who plays Teen Angel, as well as Vince Fontaine. So he
weirdly was one of the better performances.
I really liked him. When I saw the casting, I was like, oh, you know, like a bit of stunt casting there, which it is. Don't get me wrong. But he did a good job. I was surprised. He did a good job.
So Paul French played Kaneki. His rap sheet basically is Saturday Night Fever and Grease, for the most part. That's kind of, he's not really done a whole lot. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if he thinks he's John Travolta or something, because John Travolta was in both of those things.
Yeah, well,
and because you get that vibe from him. He's really he's very old school in his portrayal, I found.
But I think that is the point of the show. The show is not trying to update anything. So if anything, that's kind of like the way to do it.
But that's the problem, I think, of the show.
That's one of the problems with the show. Yes. I will also want to say that I know the film, but I don't know it that well. And I really massively struggled with. We weren't that far away, but I massively struggled to tell characters apart, especially the men.
Yeah, well, I was about to say. Then we have Jake Reynolds as Doody, Noah Harrison as Roger, and Damon Gould as Sonny. And I can't. And frankly, they all blend into one.
Yeah, and I think
non-character.
I think one of the reasons for this is the fact that they are all wearing very similar clothes. There was no difference really between the clothes they were wearing, so it became very difficult to tell them apart. Maybe if you're in the stalls, you don't have that problem, but surely then, I mean, surely the costumes should be thought through and thought out to, you know, make characters distinguishable.
Yeah, well, so the costumes, I mean, like it's obviously they're in a gang, right? And that's kind of, so they all wear the same jacket, and that's kind of a challenge as a costumer. But it was a challenge that was sure as heck not met.
Well, they all wear denim trousers, but they could have worn different shades of denim trousers.
Yeah.
I think that there are lots of little things that could have been done. I think Kaneki, for example, was very he stood out because the actor's so tall, so you could always tell him apart.
Yeah, and he wore a wife beater as well.
He did, yeah.
Which also added to his
whole portrayal.
His sleaze.
Yeah.
I'm possibly blaming the actor too much, but maybe I said the actor did a really good job of being sleazy, but I don't know. I did not like Kaneki in this. I really wanted to punch him. Like, you know, I mean, not the actor, but I wanted to punch the character.
But
I don't think that's how you're meant to feel.
No, probably not. No.
I wanted to punch Danny as well. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, look. It's one of those things, right? They say when you read a book when you're a teenager, you think it's a love story, and then when you read it later on, you think you realize it's abuse. Yeah. That's the case with Wuthering Heights, for example. And I think this, like, if you watch Grease, and no shade if you're a big fan of the film. I mean, I think these things can become very nostalgic, and if you watch them as children, if you grew up watching it, I totally understand. It's just very hard, like, if you step away from the kind of passion side of it, like from your like of it, and then kind of look at it objectively, if possible. It's very hard to swallow, I think.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of it is very hard.
I don't think no shade. If you can't recognize the problems with it now as an adult, then I think
but if you love it, I don't think there's any shade. I think I completely understand. I think I get it. I get liking something because it's very nostalgic to you, and sometimes overlooking the problems, because, you know, if I were to pick out problems with everything I see, I wouldn't watch anything. So I think it's fine to be willing to overlook. I don't think the
story has any redeeming qualities these days.
No, it's very hard, but I understand it. I understand enjoying it for nostalgic reasons.
I actually don't understand who would approach a producer today and say, I want to put on Grease.
I agree with you. I think it's very hard to understand why it's there, and at the same time, look, I think there is room to change things, and but I also think that the producers and whoever's making it is aware that that changing it would cause anger in people who are like purists, so they don't do it. They do it. They put it on exactly as is, because they want to attract people who love the film.
What I'm so confused by is the fact that I haven't seen anyone else calling this stuff out. Because usually these days, you'll find so many people who are willing to take issue with something that's something archaic being put on today.
Well, I haven't really.
People find issue these days with old movies, and the movies can't be changed. They're on film. They're on a reel, right? This production is new.
Yeah.
So actually, I actually, it's very confusing to me that people would point out an issue with the film, which cannot be changed, and never can be changed, but not have an issue with this.
Are they not pointing out the issue with this?
I have not seen anyone talk about the fact that, isn't it weird that in 2022 someone's actually putting on Grease? Which is why I'm saying it. I think it's weird. Why are you putting this on? It's such a weird thing to do. It's not
changing anything really, right? Because
I'm not saying we have to judge past films by our current values. I mean, because I don't think that's true. I think you can understand something was a product of its time, but this is a product of now.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Why are we regurgitating 50s values?
Yeah.
In a product of 2022. Yeah, it's hard to understand why it's done. I completely agree with you. I actually was excited to go see it, really, because it felt like just a big show.
I forgot how bad
and
it was.
I came out of the theater feeling quite deflated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of feeling like, what did I just see? Why are we telling these stories? Why are we still telling these stories? You know.
Yeah.
Not like, again, like the film is there, we can watch it, and it has like fun elements to it, but it is something of its time. I don't understand why you'd put it on now and keep it the same.
Mm-hmm. Our emotions have gotten the best of us, and we've lost track of our system. But you briefly touched on costumes. So costume design was by Colin Richmond. As I said, it was. I think ultimately it all looked very nice.
It looked great, yeah.
And there was nice, but I do agree, Deborah. I think he was facing a problem which he did not rise to the challenge of, which was actually help me tell the characters apart. Because of the whole. I mean, you could have people looking the same whilst looking different in gangs.
Yeah.
He just didn't really seem to attempt that.
And obviously the girls are easier to tell apart because they have more defining features and they have different.
The hair is the big.
The hair and also just different colored dresses.
Yeah.
And closer, so you have Frenchie, and like she dresses one way, and you like they all dress differently, which helps.
Speaking of French, though, something I remember pointing out is during beauty school dropout. Frenchie is wearing a pink jumpsuit, and then all of the backing dancers and singers come out wearing pink, and you lose her in the sea of pink.
The actress is quite small as well, so you do lose her.
So I don't understand that decision. Also, she would have been wearing white if she was in a beautician's, wouldn't she?
Well, I don't. It doesn't matter. Like she could have been wearing pink, and the backing dancers could have been wearing white.
White would have suited the idea of an angel better. But if you wanted loads of pink, they have Frenchie in the color. Because it was really weird. It was literally the pink. The lighting was pink.
Yeah.
All the costumes were pink, and it was just a mess going around the stage. I think the costume was probably again one of the worst I've seen.
Yeah.
This year.
But I think the other problem is, and I was just kind of coming into it. It's just bad. I'm sorry, but I think just the plot. So let's set aside.
Are we moving back to the plot?
I'm sorry, I have to. But let's set aside the fact that it's an outdated story. Let's set that aside. Let's forget that for a minute. The plot doesn't make sense. No, I don't think there was any attempt. I don't know if this is the original version of this of the musical. I don't know how it's changed throughout the years. But there was no attempt to really kind of tell a story and show us why Sandy loves Danny and why she is willing to change. Because, like, he's really rude to her. And the next scene, she's, like, wearing leathers.
The only attempt I would argue there is, I don't agree it's sufficient or works at all, is that they did add in a scene at the very start, which is basically an attempt to replicate the opening of the movie, where you see them on the beach briefly.
Sure.
Because that's not in the show.
Sure.
I've seen many versions of the show.
And that's not in it.
Never been in it before, ever.
Okay, so that's fine. But then at the end, the whole resolution of it all makes very little sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
But the part that really confused me is that they have an argument, and then the very next scene they're at the drive-in together. I thought they reconciled and then went to drive-in and then had another fight.
Yeah.
Whereas they don't actually reconcile. In this musical, this production we saw, they just basically fight. Suddenly they're together. Why are you together? He tries to rape her. Fight.
Yep.
Then she changes. She's tired of fighting and being a good girl, and then she changes. Which, I mean, look, it's very hard to swallow. Yeah, which is
very hard to swallow.
Which is why I'm probably so negative about it when it's actually like the production's fine.
The production's overall fine. I think we didn't have. Do we have problems with sound?
Yeah, sound was appalling.
Yeah.
Diction of most of the characters appalling.
Yeah.
You couldn't. Oh yeah, that was it. During summer nights, you literally couldn't hear the male backing singers. Like literally couldn't hear them. Sound is a bugbear of ours, but again, probably one of the worst sound of the year.
Well.
It's just not good, and the choreography was pretty good actually. It was by Arlene Phillips, of course, so it's kind of not surprising in a way it was good. But I mean, she's prolific, as prolific as a choreographer as you can get in the West End, probably. And I did appreciate her new Grease Lightning choreography. I don't know if it's brand new, but I hadn't seen it before. I thought and the dance scene at the high school dance was all very well choreographed.
She is a dame of the British Empire.
She is.
That's how much she's done.
Arnie Phillips done loads. I mean, she's done loads of Lloyd Webbers and stuff. I didn't know going into it was her.
Yeah, no, it was very good. Like the dancing was good. It obviously like you have the fun songs that everybody likes, and you can enjoy those, as you will. But it does kind of fail plot-wise, very massively.
I think we did about lighting. Lighting was pretty good, I think, for the most part. As well.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. I thought it was very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Lighting, if that makes sense. I don't know if you could say
easy watching lighting, I think. Yeah. But in the best possible way.
Easy listening equivalent.
Yeah, but in the best possible way. Like it's not really challenging. Don't think it means to be, which is fine. But also it's just like it wasn't bad. It was
challenging
good.
to the audience, or to the designer.
To the audience.
Oh, I see,
to the
yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
I think there was
possibly a little too much pink in Beauty School Dropout.
No, yeah, but that's the costumes, not the lighting. I think
it was also the lighting. The stage was also lit in pink, wasn't it?
Sure.
Like pink, I feel that's the director. If that's the director's fault, like why are you asking for pink lighting on pink costumes?
Yeah, so I think there was some weird directorial choices. I think Chris was the one who felt it more than me, but during summer nights when they're
so static.
When you had the two groups of people singing, it's like very static and quite messy to look at.
It was somehow messy despite being static. Which
yeah,
made no sense.
Yeah. So that was a bit odd. I think weirdly, I don't know why that kind of reminded me of Back to the Future, with that scene, the end of of Act 1, when like the school and there's a lot of movement and like it's a similar type of set with the school set when they're running around.
And boy.
Yeah, and that's done. That is done so much better.
Well, there's infinitely more movement to get to lose stuff in, and yet it was directed well enough that you don't lose stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think there was shortcomings.
Sorry, it's funny you bring that up. I can't remember the film very well, but that's a film. That's an old film. That
is an old film. Yeah, it's from the 80s.
And it had certain issues. And I found it worked better on stage. I found they did kind of mostly. I don't know, did they? I'm trying to think. It didn't feel as archaic as this did.
No, we didn't. I agree.
But I guess it was never as problematic. It has one kind of problematic part.
Yeah.
Whereas Grease is problematic from start to finish.
Yeah, which is a bit sad, isn't it? Because it has things that could be, I don't know, it could be better. There's so many weird plot details.
What did people ever see in Grease apart from it had some good music?
I don't know. You tell me, because you used to like it more than me. I only watched it once.
I think I liked it when I was like 8. I loved it when I was like 8 because I thought Danny was cool.
Yeah.
And he had a leather jacket. That's basically it. It was a child's idea of cool, right?
Yeah.
And then I realised that, and now I hate Danny. He's just absolutely the worst.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible as well. I was hard to say more, I guess. I think we're being quite negative overall.
Because, well, I don't recommend people see it ultimately in the day.
No, and I think I think I will recommend Grease to fans of the film. As
long as you're the type of fan who
won't moan about actors being different, because John Travolta's not doing it.
Everyone understands the actors are different, but I mean, literally, some people sometimes go to these things and expect a John Travolta impersonation.
Right. Yeah. Right? No, obviously that's not the case.
And I'm glad that's not the case.
Of course,
because the limited enjoyment I got from it probably would have been crushed if people had been trying to imitate the actors from the films.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's a big production. It's like big production values.
I would say the cast is okay. for the most part. There's no big. Olivia Moore is definitely has the biggest vocal chops, and Dan Partridge says Danny Zuko is kind of like he's got big shoes to fill with John Travolta, and I ultimately don't think he was up for filling them. I think he's a little mousy in his performance.
Yeah, and I think maybe look, we were talking about costumes and how everyone looked the same, and maybe there's a combination of like responsibility there. I think, I don't think he stood out enough.
Yeah, you know what? If you're a big Peter Andre fan,
go to it
from his days, then go to it. He's genuine, and I can't believe I'm saying this as someone who despises stunt casting. He's probably the best cast person in it.
He's very good in it, actually. Yeah.
Oh, he's very good.
He's okay. We are comparing the whole thing, but yes, he's decent. Yeah.
Yeah, he worked. And I believe in certain performances it's going to be
Jason Donovan.
Yeah. I would not recommend you see in his current state. When we saw him in
Joseph,
he literally cannot sing anymore. I don't know if he. I don't even think he disagrees with me. He literally can't sing anymore. But hey, we didn't see him, so I won't review him in this.
No.
So we saw Peter Andre, and if you like Peter Andre, you'll probably enjoy seeing him betray Vince Fontaine and Teen Angel, and you'll get enjoyment from the vocal chops of
Olivia Moore.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you will enjoy some good choreography from Arlene Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And
the big set, like the spectacle for the eyes.
Yeah, it's very striking when you first enter the theatre.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is.
We were like, oh, this is a big production, you know.
And it is. It is a big production.
And then it will start, and you'll be like, oh, that's fun. They've added this scene. That's quite clever. Maybe that's recontext. That's going to add some contextualization to what we're going to see. Maybe this is updated. This is good. Yeah. Oh, Summer Night's a bit stiff. Oh, it's all exactly the same. Ooh, what did he say? Ooh, what? Ooh, that's not good. Oh, my ears. That's horrible. You can't talk about that. It's gonna be a journey like that.
Yeah.
It's the overall experience is a bad taste in the mouth, actually, frankly.
Yeah, deflated is what I said before. I think that's how I left the theater, feeling a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I was expecting more. I honestly, and I think it's bad. I'm usually against. I always tell people like we should judge something for what it is, not for what we want it to be. But I genuinely thought that a few changes would have been made to the plot. Not massive changes, but I think some changes of attitude and resolution and how things got to where they got to would have been a bit better. I don't know.
Well, I'm interested in what it is as well. Like I said, I felt that the majority of the cast felt like they were going through the motions on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because they've probably done Grease in high school, in secondary school, and in acting college, and they've probably done it. They've all probably done it. They're probably all sick of Grease. And frankly, I think we all should be sick of Grease at this point.
Well, it's hard words.
I cannot believe. I actually just don't. I don't understand. I think that's my biggest problem. I don't understand who had thought this was a good idea to put Grease on in 2022 and waste 6 months of a West End theatre when apparently shows that can't even get in at the moment.
There are a lot of shows waiting to get in.
Yeah, and we have Grease here for another 20 weeks.
Yep, we do.
That's what kind of annoys me, I think, about it. So, I mean, we don't do star reviews on Restricted View, and you might be expecting that if we did, I'd give this 0 stars. I'm not. Far from it, in fact. It's not a 0-star show. The show has more competence. As I said, Olivia is... more. I want to say Coleman. Olivia Moore has pretty good vocal chops. All the cast are all perfectly... none of them fall short. They're all perfectly... Sorry, they do fall short, but they're perfectly serviceable, right? But they just don't stand out. As I said, I thought Danny was a bit mousy. Kaniki kind of really just embodied the wrong parts of that character for me. But overall, they were perfectly serviceable in the role. The set was pretty good, we said, even if a lot of it was just set dressing. The choreography was good. Lighting was mostly good. Sound was poor. Costume was poor. So there's actually a lot of things there's several quite negative things for me, and the rest were all okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as we're making it sound with our frustration at Grease as a concept. But you will not enjoy this if you have modern sensibilities, which you want to see respected.
Yeah.
You will not enjoy this if you didn't enjoy the film.
Definitely.
If you did enjoy the film, you will love this if you just love being nostalgic about the film, as Deborah said.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's really the main the Achilles heel of it is definitely the plot.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you can get past everything else.
The score is not phenomenal. There's a lot.
No.
Of, for every Grease Lightning, there's like 2 or 3 you've forgotten, which aren't very good.
This is true, but there are a lot of great songs. There are some great songs.
And if you've seen the film, there's a lot of songs in this you don't know if you've never seen the show. There's a lot of songs in this that you've never heard, which actually are some of the better songs in some ways. But you're not going to experience them as the good songs they are, because you're going to be sitting there going, what is this? Why is this here?
Why is this here? Yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
So, but most importantly, I think I couldn't possibly recommend this to a West End theatre fan who's looking for their next thing to see. Do not pick this. Pick something, literally anything else, not literally anything else. But just as a theatre fan, I'd only recommend this to film fans or fans of the actual musical, that people have already seen the production and know they like the stage show.
Yeah, also fans of Peter Andre.
Yes. Yeah. But ultimately, there's much better things in the West End to spend your money on.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's ultimately the point of reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen everything, and this is the last, you've only got a couple of shows left to see, you're planning on seeing them, then fine. If you see every show that comes to West End, then obviously that's fine. But if you have something else in the West End left to see, I wouldn't recommend seeing this.
No, probably go see the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. And I think this another thing I kind of want to take away from this is that we do think, I do think we need to start asking ourselves, and producers need to start asking themselves why certain things are being put on. Okay, sorry, maybe I'm being naive. I know the answer is money.
Money is
but
it's the nostalgia. I guess that's the answer to the question, isn't it? Why is it put on? It's because they're banking nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to bank nostalgia for 26 weeks.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Let's see how it does, because we went, as Chris said, the first previews weekend on a Friday, and it was half empty.
Yeah,
it's a very big theatre to fill. So
I think that's funny, because I thought we were sounding too harsh considering the positive elements the production has. And our star review will ultimately, my star rating, which we don't do, but I will do, will obviously reflect that positive aspects as well. But I think I'm going to say something very harsh now, but I mean it, which is I don't think Grease has a place on the West End right now. I don't think it has a place on the West End in 2022, and I hope that this closes sooner than 26 weeks. I don't want it to be here for 26 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, because I don't want people out of jobs. I know these actors.
Well, you have to look at things in isolation, though. I'm not saying I want people out of jobs. I'm saying I don't want Grease in the West End.
Okay, that's harsh. That is harsh, though.
It is, but it's not that, and that's not an attack on this production, even.
No, I understand that. It is an attack. It's an attack on Grease and why it's being done anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that I don't think you can do Grease if you're not going to change things. You need to update it.
Do a concert version so the plot's not there.
Yeah, you need to update Grease needs to be updated.
Yeah.
It needs to be updated.
And I'm not a big person for that, insofar as I'm more likely to defend the existence of something as a product of its time.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, Grease gets to me, man. I don't like it.
No, and I think it's tough. It's tough to watch.
So as we don't do star ratings, but I will give this 2 stars.
Yes, I would give it 2 stars too. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 stars out of 7.
No, out of 5 for me.
Yeah, so basically only worth what not doesn't really have much artistic merit or entertainment value. I mean, some but not much. And then only really to be recommended for people who like a particular element of it. In this case, either Grease the movie / a previous production or Peter Andre.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Cool. You possibly didn't sound very fair, but maybe go see it for yourself. See what you think.
Yeah. If you're in a similar position to us, because I do think that if you're a big fan of the film, you will
which
possibly.
I was as a young man, and that's the crucial thing. I've grown, and I don't think this show has grown, and therefore, as I said, I don't think it has a place on the West End today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the main thing to take from this, that times have changed. And if you're going to put something on, we covered this before, we talked about adaptations before, and like how we need to also move on with the times. Why are you doing this? Why is this being put on exactly as it was 50 years ago? I think we need to ask ourselves that, and just like, I don't know, do better.
Yeah, do better. Exactly. Well, of course, things can sometimes try and update with the times and still fail.
Yeah.
Catastrophically.
Yes, they can.
So maybe we'll discuss something next week regarding.
Oh my God! Yes, I mean we need to see a 5-star show soon.
Yeah, that's actually So we're going to wrap up now in a second. That's a good point. Deborah and I feel
we're being very negative.
We feel we've had a lot of bad reviews recently. Although we did have To Kill a Mockingbird, which was a 5-star show.
Very true. And then Life of Pi. Life of Pi is actually a good.
Superstar.
Life of Pi is actually a very good review as well.
That was 5-star as well.
Yeah. 4 for me, but yeah.
5 for me, wasn't it? And 5 superstar to Kill a Mockingbird. But I do feel we've had quite a few poor shows, and spoiler alert, we've got some more.
Coming up.
Not so great.
I think maybe that's it. I think
we feel we've got at least 2 negative reviews hanging over us.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
So maybe that's the problem. But at the end of the day, there's no point in us pretending we like something when we don't. And the whole point, as I've always said, I think I said it's probably the first ever episode we did. The whole point of reviews is that you kind of build a relationship
with the reviewer. Yeah.
And you kind of understand where you fall with them.
And here you have 2 for the price of 1.
Exactly. So. But yeah, so if you think, oh well, Chris is always he always says this or that about things, then yeah, you can learn to not listen to that part, and maybe hopefully, even though this was a negative review, you'll know if Grease might be for you.
Yes, I think so. I think hopefully we've been helpful to you to decide if you want to go see it. By all means, you know you know the reasons why you think you should, and all the reasons we think you shouldn't.
But in the meantime, thank you ever so much for listening. As always, do let us know what you think of Grease, be it this production or not, or a previous production or or the film. What do you think of Grease as a piece of history?
Yeah.
And if you've seen it, what do you think of the production at the Dominion Theatre? Please do let us know on comments on Instagram. And if you're listening on YouTube, please do let us know in the comments down below, and like the video, and subscribe to the channel and everything.
And all that good stuff.
All that stuff that the algorithm likes us to say.
And until then, we will be with you next week again.
Yes. And in the meantime, please do see more shows.
Even if it's Grease.